Like it or not, it's Creepy Cheapies time again, where we look for the best in affordably priced, well-made Halloween masks to delight and scare everybody. I'm Meadowlark Lemon, and tonight's mask is another great one from the folks at Trick or Treat Studios. From where? Trick or Treat Studios, that's right. And now I hear a lot of crabbing about this mask. I've heard complaints about this mask. I disagree. I understand why some people don't care for it, but I would like to tell you why I do like it. This is the 2013 model, by which I mean it came out in the year 2013. Are you with me? Do you know what it is? Yeah, okay. This is the 2013 Bela Lugosi Dracula from Trick or Treat Studios. Now this particular Bela Lugosi Dracula, sculpted by a very talented guy named Casey Wong. Okay, now there have been Lugosi Dracula masks before, of course, and busts and so forth. Why do some people maybe not like this one, some of the collectors? Well, I understand what they're saying. People think it looks kind of funny, like it has a sense of humor to it, it looks a little bit silly. But, here's the big but. That is actually completely legitimate, because if you watch Lugosi as Dracula in the original Dracula, and especially in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein from 1948, he definitely had a sense of humor. Okay, and he did this kind of overconfident smirk, and far from making him look silly or foolish, I think it captures the essence of his personality, that his overconfidence is always his downfall, you know, and this captures that very arrogant, very completely confident that he's smarter than everybody else and nobody can keep up with him, and he's smug about it. Okay, and I like that because it is a facet of that character, that persona that we don't normally see in Halloween masks. And as I said, there have been lots of Dracula masks over the years. Most of them have the same expression, which is just a very stern, you know, grim determination, which is great, and I do like that, and it's cool. But since that's been done and done and done, do we really need another one that looks like that? That same expression where he looks like he's trying to hypnotize somebody. I think it's okay to have a different expression, to have a Lugosi Dracula that is a little different from the pack of all the others, and brings out a different side of his personality, and I think this one does it very well. The quality of the sculpting, beyond reproach. It's very well sculpted. It looks very natural and realistic and very lifelike, and I think that's you know, all that contributes to it being a good mask. Now, another reason some people aren't crazy about it, the hair isn't crepe hair like on the expensive Don Post masks and such, like those used to have. It's fur hair, sometimes called fun fur, meaning it's acrylic hair that's on a sheet like you get at a craft store, maybe. And now, while masks like Be Something Studios, Zagoni, they use fun fur for hair routinely, you don't often see it on a collector mask of this caliber, but once in a while you do. And some people don't like it just because there's a certain level of, there's a kind of thinking that people get into. There's a mindset that tells us that hand-applied hair is always better. It's usually better, but it's not always better. I have I'm mostly in agreement with that I think that's the better way to go with most masks, but I have seen some great things done with fur hair, and on this character, really, it works, okay? You think of Dracula as having his hair slicked back, for the most part, with greasy kid stuff, you know? So you don't really need it to be long and flowing, and you don't want it to be hair that would be flopping around. So really, you brush this back, you got it. They really get away with it. And it doesn't interfere with putting the mask on and off. It's very well designed. It's a full head mask, so it isn't, I guess what I'm saying is it isn't a case where there's no latex in the back. It's a full head and then the fur is glued on over it. So this isn't done in the Be Something style of mask where there's only latex in the front and the fur in the back. It's covered. And really, again, I think it works. If you want to hit it with a little bit of hairspray, even better. If you're going to wear it, to hold it in place. Now, I'm going to show you one that's had a little bit of customizing done to it, but only a little, because I think it would be uncool to say, well, it's a nice mask if you completely redo it. No, see, that's not good advice. I'm just going to show you one that I have here that I've done just a little bit of customization. Okay? Now, the only thing here that you might have any trouble doing yourself is the eyebrows. My long-suffering spouse, Laura, redid the eyebrows on this one for me. So the eyebrows on this one look a little nicer because they've been replaced with eyebrows that are a little more careful. But again, this is production, people. This is not something where somebody can sit down and spend hours and hours on it and you pay hundreds of dollars. No, this sells for like 60 to 70 bucks retail. So you shouldn't expect to get a $300 mask or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? Now, the eyebrows notwithstanding, you could, even if you're not very, hair talented like Laura, if you're not like that, you could still trim them a little bit or reposition them or work on them a little carefully if you're not happy with the ones you get on your mask. The other thing I've done is I added just a little bit to the paint, just a little, okay? And this is going to sound silly, but it's totally true. I just happened to have paint mixed up that was already exactly the same colors. So I know that's a little bit of a cheat, but I just added a little bit to the bluish gray. You see that? And I added a little bit more of the purplish, pinkish, reddish color on his lip to bring out his lips a little more. But that's it. It's very little. It's like 5 minutes worth of work, okay? It's not like totally overhauled, repainted, anything like that. Just a little bit added to try to bump up the, the distinction of the face a little bit. Very easy. And the only other thing that I did, which you can do easily, on some of these where this hairline is kind of folded back, sometimes you can see little white dots along there. And no, it's not vampire dandruff. I know what you might be thinking, vampire dandruff, which is a terrible thing. Nobody wants to get VD, okay? But it's not vampire dandruff. What it is that little tiny bits of the net mesh backing of the fur. Sometimes the little bit of white shows along the edge. So what I did, which again, very simple, any idiot can do it. Any idiot can do it. All I did was take a black Sharpie and very carefully go along there, and wherever I saw a little bit of white, just tap the tip of that Sharpie to the edge of the hairline very carefully, because you don't want to scribble on his skin. You don't want to get black on the mask, or the latex part of the mask that shows. You just want to put it right where that fur is folded under, right along the hairline. You don't have to do it over anywhere else on the head, just maybe a little bit along that hairline. Just tap it with a Sharpie. It takes less than 5 minutes to do that, and you've made him that much better. But again, some people complaining about this one because they think the fur was kind of cheesing out, was kind of a cheap thing to do. But I don't see it. I think it works. It looks like Lugosi as Dracula. It looks like his hair. Why not use the fur when it has the right effect? And I think it does. So I like this mask a lot. It's fun, it's very realistic looking, and it's licensed by Lugosi Enterprises. Okay, so I think all you classic horror lovers and mask collectors out there should get one of these officially licensed Trick or Treat Studios Lugosis. And if you do, and if you decide to do any any extra detailing on yours, let me see a picture.